What is up, everybody? Jason Burmis here, and I thought that I would do this one from an elevated perspective up at the park. As you can see, the basketball rims are still down. The baseball field is still covered. That's right, no baseball still. Not in this area anyway. Right now, at least the skate park is empty, and there's a couple people behind me, but it's a gorgeous day out and I want to take a morning walk and I want to talk about a few different issues. Now that Q is now in way bigger on the mainstream media cycle today, right? You're seeing that clip just as I predicted last night all over the place where Trump embraces Q and his supporters. I wanted to talk about meme culture and then Millie Weaver because I think it's important to know at least the facts of what's going on there. Let's not just get one perspective because I still have questions about the Shadowgate documentary. We all know that Millie was a big supporter of Trump, and I think that it would only help us to get her perspective on the situation too. So I just want to let everybody know. Um, Tag Millie in some tweets and tell her you want to see her on my show. We follow each other on Twitter. So I've already reached out to talk to her. And by the way, it's not to be some kind of an Alex Jones InfoWars bash fest at all. That's not the purpose of this thing. I want to talk to her about the evolution of the documentary, what she thinks of Bergie and Tory and why she trusts them. And of course, we're going to talk InfoWars as well, seeing as she's been there forever, if she does the interview. But it's not going to be some hate or hit piece on anybody. I think that all perspectives need to be heard, especially because, there's a lot of things, obviously, over the years. Not that I'm super familiar with her work, but I've seen certain videos where there's no doubt that I disagreed with her perspective. But I'm a freedom of speech guy. And when I see tech giants colluding for the integrity of the election, that's what they keep telling you, right? The integrity of the election, Jason. We need to get together with YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Microsoft and ensure the integrity of this election, where one side of a false paradigm is literally running a senile, I believe, 77-year-old man who barely can walk and talk. Thumbs this video up, 43 watching, right? So that brings us into meme culture, because meme culture is huge, right? I can't get away from any kind of social media feed without seeing it somewhere. And that's whether or not it's my Twitter, which I prefer over my Facebook. Meme. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up memes with Q and the gang is because, listen, memes have a ton of information and then misinformation on both sides, right? Some of the memes I've been seeing lately with photoshoppings of Jeffrey Epstein, they're kind of comical, but at the same time, they're not meant to be. People think they're factual, right? That Obama family one and the island. Okay, think about that. So I get it, but they're using people who do Photoshop to censor viewpoints and then fact check everything and not actually fact check it. Just, send it through an algorithm. They say it's some individual, but that got proven wrong with an Epstein meme where people were just posting anything at the top with a picture of Epstein to see if it gets fact checked, and it did, and it got fact checked with people associating that picture with the Clintons having him murdered, right? Kind of weird. Shows you how inefficient their systems are, but how authoritarian they already are, and how quickly they can move and just censor anything arbitrarily, right? It's always about selective enforcement, and that's a big thing we need to talk about, right? So I've never been a meme culture guy, but no matter what you think about Q, and everybody knows what I think about Q, okay, I'm not trying to drag that in. Now that Trump has commented on it and kind of embraced it, right, and fed the fire a bit, endorsed these people, said they were good people, and then saying, when asked about the satanic pedophile cannibals and him secretly taking them down, he did say, well, we are actually. I mean, that's not exactly how he answered it, but those are his words. he didn't say, oh, no, that's ridiculous or whatever. He did also say right before it, you know, that it was the first time him hearing that. And that's ridiculous, too. Listen, he's been following this thing for quite some time. Again, I think the guy's an intelligent guy. There's people trying to tell me he's a dummy. He's no dummy. Trump knows exactly what he's doing and how he's doing it. And, you know, he's smart to play to that base, right? And they're trying to take away all the tools of the campaign now that they've taken away his ability to show the world that he can have huge rallies. And there was no way Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were going to have huge rallies. They've taken away his ability probably to debate this guy, right? The press isn't asking any real questions about Zombie Joe or even of Kamala Vampiris. Only 20 thumbs, let's get it up. And now they can just censor any meme that they deem fit for election integrity. Like, what the is going on? And you have a candidate who, again, I don't care how much you say to me and you try to convince me of this, even though I think that the polls showed that, you know, 60% of Democrats were voting just against Trump, not for Joey B, but he's not Joey B anymore. He's not Sleepy Joe. He's Zombie Joe Mother Truckin' Biden. Okay? That's the real deal. Let's take these off. Oh, Steve Bannon just got arrested. For what? For fraud. Damn. Well, that should be interesting. So, guys, I mean, they're trying to take away what Trump's base does best. Now, let's talk about some of the misinformation, disinformation on the QAnon stuff. So now I'm seeing all these memes where every celebrity you can imagine has been on Jeffrey Epstein's plane or on the island. That's not correct, at least not provably correct, right? I'm seeing all these different names that they say are on the flight logs, and some of the people are on the flight logs, and then others are not. It's just made up. And what that does is that discredits the whole thing, and that's what the media is about to do, okay? They've already fed the fire on this this QAnon thing and how discredited it is, and, you know, how it's all a conspiracy theory, and how these people can be domestic terrorists, and how we need to shut down Twitter accounts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this isn't Jason Burma saying it. That's the mainstream media saying it and doing all these things, right? And now, with election integrity and the meme police, it's all over for that. So they're really going to try to do their best to, you know, basically rig the information war that's going on right before this election. Again, you can't convince me that half of Democrats or half the population or more than half wants a mandatory mask order. Joe Biden in that commercial is running a 30-second ad where he says a mandatory mask order starting immediately. There should be a mandatory mask order starting immediately. Now, number one, it's ridiculous to think, even though there is one in New York right now, in New York State where I'm at, which is absolutely ridiculous, at the end of August, right? The summer's almost over. The LARPing is crazy. But then to think that he wouldn't be in office, and that's, you know, if somehow we stop all this mail-in voting fraud, that they're already spinning a narrative that Trump is somehow going to try to challenge the election or steal the election or rig the election because of this mail-in voting fraud effort, which is seriously crazy. It's seriously crazy what they're trying to do. That the vote will go on forever. But let's say you got Joey B, aka Zombie Joe, because it ain't Joey B. Unless they somehow get a CGI Joe Biden going that looks pretty convincing, there will be no Joey B. It's all Zombie Joe. Let's put these back on. All right. So unless they get him in somehow magically in January, that means a mandatory mask order in January. And remember, he wants to do it for the next several months. So now into March of next year. So now we've had a varying lockdown for a year. If Zombie Joe and Kamala Vampiris get in there, that's nuts. But one, you know, I guess going back to the meme stuff, I've never been a big meme guy. You can't get away from them. Even ones I disagree with, I find some humor in some of them. But I know people that are literally scrolling through Instagram all day or on Facebook all day looking at memes, going to sites that are dedicated to memes and then posting them out. And I just think to myself, man, you could be doing a lot more you could be reading those New York State legislation bills that I just did the video on that want mandatory vaccinations for everybody in New York State and around the country because the Constitution has failed regarding to COVID-19, right? Or really anything they tell you. That they want to take 9-year-old girls without parental consent or knowledge and vaccinate them against STDs. That's all real. That's up for legislation now, right? That's nuts. And then again, I keep hearkening back to it, but you could look into the sex scandals of Barney Frank, of Mark Foley, of Dennis Hassert. You can look at the Finders. You can look at the Franklin scandal, right? And that's all real. That's all real. You can look at a lot of aspects of Epstein, and that's all real. But when you get caught up in fantasy, what happens? They're going to use it against you, and the media is going to have more ammo to smear you. I'm just putting that out there. So thumbs the video up, subscribe and share. Join the Burmis Brigade. Remember, I couldn't do it without you. The GoFundMe is down below. We are fully demonetized on this channel 4+ months, and I need your support now more than ever. This isn't a right or left issue. This wasn't me trying to pump up Trump at all. You know, again, because he leaned into that QAnon thing. He's known about it forever. Okay, he's known how it's helped his base. I talked about it in what was it, today's or yesterday's video. It's come on, it's right there. You know, he's not a dumb man. So I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.